Hey Soumya, it's your birthday. How do you feel?
I feel old. I feel like I'm aging. My body is decaying day by day. Is that too depressing for a
I
start?
mean, that's what birthdays are. I don't think there is anyone in the world who grows younger on birthdays. So I guess what you're feeling is just a normal thing.
Yeah, but it's fun. I like being older, I guess. Let's get started.
Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of Version Control. Today we're doing game development. I'm Soumya. I'm a software engineer at Microsoft, and with me I have.
I'm Sarthak. I'm also a software engineer, but at Amazon, and that's the company with the leadership principle. If you don't know.
Okay. So today we wanted to talk about game development, right? And in our list of episodes, this has been there for a while. We've been, going back and forth. When do we want to do this and how we want to do this?
Mm-hmm.
But today felt like the right time. And I think because gaming is growing across the world, a lot of people are passionate about it. I think it's good to discuss it. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think online gaming in one form or the other is impacting almost everyone in today's life, right? If you see hardcore gamers who are playing the Gen Z, who are playing games as they're growing up, you even see like adults in their 40s, 50s also consuming some form of gaming nowadays. And I feel like gaming as a field is poised to become one of the strongest field. I think it's good to have a conversation around it, to talk to people who answer questions basically about what people have doubts about this field, how this field is actually in software engineering, maybe also bring in how AI will impact this field and so on.
I see. Okay. So before we dive into game development, I was thinking, do you want to take a minute to, discuss like we grew up when online gaming was not so popular and game development was also pretty niche, right? There were not so many opportunities. Do you want to talk about the trend of how these things have changed over the years?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that online gaming was not popular when I was growing up, at least, and by that extension it also applies to you because you're younger than me.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know how much gaming experience do you have? Like, did you used to game? Were you a voracious gamer in your teens?
I mean, I was bullied into gaming by you, so I mean, I was
apart
not,
from that.
Yeah, I was not fully like a voracious gamer. Like I was not spending all my time gaming, or I was not like fully passionate about it. But I did enjoy playing games. I think Minecraft I've played a lot.
Minecraft came out in 2012. What about 2000s? Did you play any game in 2000?
I remember Pocket Tanks. I think that's
Okay.
what. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and not like something that was like pretty huge or very challenging growing up. But yeah, I think Minecraft was something I played a lot, and then in the recent times I spent a lot of time playing Dota. Right, so I think those kind of games I've been involved with, and I think I've played like we used to play FIFA a lot as kids together. Right?
So that's what I'm saying. Like, so I think online gaming was always in one form or the other there. Even in 2000s, you had Counter-Strike, which is still a game today. Like, surprisingly, they still keep making it. So online gaming was always there. What I would say that the market has become more democratized. It is very easy to set up an online game now than it was before. Before you needed a lot of technical know-how, but now you have such great softwares and frameworks that allow you to set up online gaming easily. So you have the expansion of online gaming, but I think it has been always there, and I think that's what kind of makes the field unique also. You have this interaction with other people doing the same thing sitting at your home that kind of makes that online gaming addictive.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Dota.
Yeah.
Also added this skill ranking system which have been adopted by so many games
Yeah.
already. So those kind of things are the reason why this field is growing.
Yeah.
And it will continue to grow.
Yeah. And do you think like because people can play with other people, right? I think that really enhances the experience of gaming in general, right? Playing against like a CPU or a bot is just not it after a certain point, right? I think it works for games where you have quests, but it doesn't work for games where you have this skill set of like, a team battle. Games like Dota, for example, right? It just makes it so much more better if you're playing with other humans because they become unpredictable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you want to equate it to a real life paradigm, cricket is always fun with friends, rather than playing with a bowling machine, like, which throws the ball at you, or playing in the nets. So it's that equivalency being brought to the world of video games, and that's where online gaming takes the edge. But yeah, this is a big tangent we took. So let's bring it back to topic. Alright, so the original thing we were discussing was like what's gaming and everything, so you can continue there.
So I think I wanted to lean into it with the kind of like a question where we are software engineers, I solve like networking problems, you solve orchestration. Do you think there's a certain skill set that if you want to be a game developer, that these are the problems you should be focusing on to be a better to like start developing games?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest questions that gets asked if you're looking into game development is how important are the engines, right? So you have Unity, which is a free engine. Unreal, one of the best engines out there, has also come on the same model. And whenever you hear game development, the first thing people mention is that you need to learn a game engine, right? And that's to an extent true. Nowadays, games are definitely easier to make. If you make them on an engine, you get so many things out of the box. So that is a perfectly viable path to take. But if you see some of the legendary games that are defining the world today, for example, let's take Minecraft. That is built purely on Java. It uses OpenGL library. There's nothing special. OpenGL was considered. I don't think anybody considered making a game in that. Let alone make a hit game as a Minecraft. But I think that kind of points you to the fact that the idea is what matters more here. There are multiple ways to execute. There are easier ways to execute, which is the engines that you have. There are harder ways to execute where you can manage your own vectors, graphics. But the first thing you need is that compelling hook. What is your opinion?
I agree, right? And I think you took the example of Minecraft, and I think Minecraft is the prime example of games that you do not need like too many fancy graphics or too many fancy characters to make a game interesting, right? Minecraft is just so simple, yet it is so different every time you play it, and it's extremely fun, right? So I do agree with the fact that yes, the idea is like the most important thing here, but for say I'm a 15-year-old or a 18-year-old trying to learn game development, right? Do you think my first project should be creating a game end to end, or should I be focusing on something like like a small part of things? Like if I learn how to say design vectors or move these animations, I think that's a good place to start too, right? That you don't have to like just start thinking like, oh, I have to build this huge game. You can start with like really small things to build your skills from up there. Do you agree with that?
I do, and games nowadays are a complicated piece of engineering, right? Like if you take Minecraft only, for example, yes, it's a simple game, right? There's not much to the basic concept, but if you actually see the rendering engine, the kind of graphics used, the physics, there are so many things involved in it. The rastering of the layers, the generation of the world, I can go on and on, right? So it's always helpful to see how good games in history look like on their first release. And I would call them the bare bones structure of the game. Like offer the core feature, then you listen to the audience what they want. So I wouldn't say that you should just focus on graphic designing or like vector designing, because if you're just designing vectors, you're not going to have a game. You have to make it. If you're going out into so there are before that there are two parts to this. One, you join a gaming company. One, you make your own game. So this is for the make your own game part, right? So if you're looking to make your own game, you have to do it end to end. You cannot learn one skill. Right? And it's about choosing the minimum amount of skills required to deliver that first experience which matches your vision enough that it you can say that this is what I wanted, but it does not complicate the thing so much that you can never finish it. Right.
So I think that makes sense, right?
So let me take your opinion on the second path. So let's say that's one way to do the gaming part. What do you think is the best opinion if there's a young developer, they want to get into game development, but they want to join a company which is already making games? What are the skills they should be focusing on?
So I think the first thing that you have to be is imaginative, right? Be creative, absorb ideas, throw ideas at people, right? The other thing is that even like if you're part of a company, they already have the idea and they're looking for people who can help them execute that vision, right? So even if you are assigned, say, a part of the job, like whatever interests you, you focus on that area of the skill set. But once you join the company, I think your end goal should still be, trying to learn like how all these pieces fit together.
So, what about techs? Like, let's say if there's a technology that you think will give them an edge if they know, what do you think that should be for a game developer right now, which can put them on an edge ahead?
Oh, I have no idea about this. Like I said, I'm a little slower game developer, not much experience. You tell me that. I'll throw the question back at you.
Okay, I mean, well, I would say that a lot of game development ultimately come down to a lot of, so again, same thing. Are they using an engine or they're not using an engine? So I'm going to frame my answer there. If they're using the engine, so if you learn an engine, that's already going to open a lot of fields for you. So if, let's say, if you know your way around Unreal Engine, you know the APIs that are on offer, you know how it works, you have learned it to the depth, that is one advantage that nobody can take away from you. But if you don't want to go down the engine path, then I would say you focus on some of the most used graphic libraries. For example, OpenGL in Java. There are libraries in Python also. Maybe I'll link them down in the comment. You make sure that you know in and out of these libraries, you have projects to showcase your expertise in these libraries. And that will definitely help you get an edge, because ultimately a game is graphics, right? No matter how much you cut it. Even Minecraft, even though it looks simple graphics, it is groundbreaking actually. Okay, if you think about it in 2012 terms, specifically the random generation part. So that is where I'll tell you to focus on. So learn an engine if that interests you. Otherwise, go deep into these graphic libraries.
I see. Okay, that makes sense. I felt like I got put on the spot. I would have thought of that answer. Either way, I'm not going to defend myself. Okay, so coming back to the topic, right? The other question also becomes that when we say game development, it's a very overloaded term, right? But again, there are like layers to it. There are types of jobs that exist in this market. Do you want to talk a bit about that? So, like, I'll give you examples, right? A game, I think you can break it down into 2-3 levels, right? There is a game designer, there's the developer, and then there's the graphic designing part of it, right? So, do you want to talk about the kind of jobs that exist?
Yeah, so there's graphic designer, there is, a game is a lot of moving parts. It goes beyond tech, right? There is a developer, there is an architect for, you can maybe say there's a developer for the local game. Then there is a developer or development team for the online aspect of the game, okay, which will give you the client, the server and all that. But apart from that, the bigger part of game is graphics, design, sound design. I feel is like one of the most important fields when making a game addictive. Like, you know, if you have played Dota, you have killed a creep, you know the sound that comes. It is so well designed to be that rewarding dopamine hit in your brain. So sound design is one of those things. Game design in general refers to how the game itself plays out, the levels, how they will work, and there is a science to that also, how you make the levels increase in difficulty so that the way your player is learning is also like it's matching that learning curve. It is not becoming too easy or it is not becoming too hard. Although I think in the case of too hard also, there's a very famous game called Dark Souls, which is known for being like punishing that one mistake will kill you. So I think that's what you need to experiment, but there's a whole science behind that also. So that is one field that exists. I think from our perspective, we are developers. The most happening field right now is to be in a developer who can offer an online experience in a game, right? That is the most touching field. And if you and the technologies used for making a game have an online experience are way different than what the local experience. The local experience focuses on the engines, the graphics. But if you're a server side developer there, your job is to make sure the online experience works. Then the technologies change. Right? I would say you focus on memory DBs, which are like crucial to these real-time updates. Redis, for example, is one, right? So there's also, I think, memory DB offered by Amazon itself. I'm sure Microsoft also has a memory DB offering. So these are the things that you should be focusing on and, you know, enhancing yourself. What do you think?
I do agree. I think if you are a developer and you want to focus on, like, you know, offering an online experience, because I think in today's market, a game that does not offer online experience is most likely not cut out to sell well in the first place. So you really need to focus on that skill set, and I think the question that you need to constantly ask yourself when you're trying to solve these problems, like, will this scale? Because eventually that's the problem that you have to answer. The reason Counter-Strike is fun with friends is because the shoots you're making or the kills you're making are real time, right? It shouldn't be like the person moved and the bullet hit. Gameplay is so freaking important, right? When you go online. So you can't afford lag. So the only question you have to keep asking yourself is like, how do I make this scale?
To get specific there, I think there is one design that every online game follows. Is this the concept of ticks? I think gamers would have heard that the server tick in one server tick, this happens. It will definitely help if you like dive deep on that design, know how server ticks work, how the data is distributed across clients and collected from clients in each tick, how each tick is committed to the memory process, everything. So those are the kind of technologies you should be focusing on and learning. So let me turn the topic towards the next page. So we have kind of discussed a lot on the kind of text and everything, but what do you think is the position of a game developer as of today? Do you think it's what do you think of the field itself? Like, is it one of the best fields in IT? Is it one of the average fields in IT? What is your opinion there?
So I think as a job, as work, I think it's one of the most exciting fields in IT because you get to see, you build something and you get to see people playing it, you see it pan out, right? So I think it's one of the most exciting fields. Yet I feel game developers are the most underpaid in the industry, right? They're very underpaid because I've usually seen people who choose game development as a field are genuinely passionate about it, and somehow I feel like the industry misuses that passion to not pay them their fair share. What do you think?
I agree. I definitely have explored game development opportunities in the past when I was just starting my career. And one thing I really saw rampant, I think one of my friends who was even more into it than me will agree. His name is Dipanshu. It's doxing. Okay. That the companies here are so much abusing the passion of the industry itself. Like, game development is passion, right? Like, you're making something that's going to impact a lot of people. It's going to impact you. You're telling a story, right? I would actually compare it to equivalent to making a movie, right? It's just an interactive movie kind of experience. So abusing that to actually underpay them and selling that as a feature that, hey, you're working on game you're getting to work on this, so why do you want money, is what makes this feel a little bit sad overall. And hopefully this trend will change with more indie games. Like, nowadays, I think we're at the point where we have the most amount of indie games out there. And with platforms like Steam, which offers Steam and other gaming clients, they offer to take your game and distribute it to millions instantly, right? You have this like market sort of place. Hopefully we'll see the rise of more indie companies and democratizing of this field.
On that note, I've also been seeing these interesting startups come up. Like, one of the startups I saw recently, they advertise themselves as like they're Canva for games. So if you have an idea and you want to build a game around it, you tell them the story, you pick the features, and they'll design a short game for you, like then and there.
I see.
Right? So if and that seemed very interesting to me. Like, if I have an idea, I don't have to learn. I just have to try that startup out, and they build me a game, and then I realize, okay, was my idea fun to play or not? So
but this seems like one of those low code applications, no? Like, you don't need to learn to code to make a application kind of thing.
But
so my experience with those is like, it breaks down in the complex cases, but I'm like curious to know like how complex games can you make with this?
I mean, they're very simple games. They're like, small kind of Mario, Snake. They're very simple games, but it's fun because it offers something unique. That's my take on it. Okay,
so that's another potential field where you might not require coding to actually make a game. Again, I have my skepticism for anything, not just gaming, whenever this is said, because the reality of what is delivered usually is not the same as what was promised. And I feel it's easy to play and give goals, but let's see. Interesting field coming up.
And then we wanted to pan out this question, right? How do you think AI affects gaming in the future?
Yeah, I think game designing in general is a creative field, and it is threatened by AI coming in. Uh, I have the same opinion that I have for creative movies and whatever will be pumped out by AI. I'm not really confident that it can actually pump out groundbreaking content on its own. It can definitely give you average content, but to get that sharp content, like there have been moments in gaming industry which have defined cultures, right? And that is all because of game design.
Yeah.
Some examples are Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3.
Yeah.
Okay, the ending really surprised people. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 for existing in the first place. Okay. Yes, such a bad game. Okay, so and there are others like that. There's this very famous game of Portal, right? Portal defined a concept of gaming that lived, and it brought such meme content. Like I don't know if you know of GLaDOS or Gladys. I think it was Gladys. Okay, and the cake is a lie.
Yeah.
Came from Portal, right? So
games like Counter-Strike live through dorm rooms and hostels.
Yeah,
everywhere,
exactly. So
right?
These are elements of game design that really started on creativity, right? One person out there actually went and thought like this is what I want to do. I'm not sure if AI can do that on its own. It can regurgitate a lot of content. I mean, glorified glorified input and output manipulator. But yeah, if it is able to do that, I think some part of creativity will be going off to Gen AI, like companies like giving ideas for games. But I think we're a long way away from that. What do you think?
I think applications of AI for gaming, I mean, it is very far away from like designing a game on its own, but you would still be able to, figure out like if I have a game, I think it would be interesting to see how AI plays it. Right, because that would give me an insight on like how complicated it is, how challenging it is. So maybe for the testing side of things, AI can play a role for now, but designing a game is like very far for AI.
Yeah. On that note, I think it might actually help improve the AI CPU modes of these games also, right? Like right now, if you have played Age of Empires, it's very easy to defeat the CPU because a CPU is not able to comprehend the complexities of a real-time strategy game. But if I feel if there's an AI that can adapt to things, it might offer a better offline experience. And who knows, we might see the return of offline gaming, like trend going up again.
Yeah,
right?
maybe.
Yeah.
The other tangential question that always comes with gaming and its experience, right, is also the evolution of Metaverse and things like that. Do you think that has like potential to change gaming industry as well?
So you mean like can you elaborate the question? Like you mean Metaverse as in like the one Meta released?
Things like Metaverse. I basically mean like AR and VR. Do you think those things still have potential?
I think VR actually has the only potential in gaming.
Yeah.
Okay. I think currently it is used mostly for gaming only.
Yeah.
There are simple games that I do feel VR offers a better experience. And I feel that industry is poised to grow only. What do you think?
I mean, I think the first real world impact that AR and VR made was with the game Pokemon Go. When it first came, I think it was very fun to play. So I think that industry will definitely grow. It's fun to do.
Yeah, and I have played Wii bowling a couple of times. Okay, where you put on like you have that thing that you throw, and that felt intuitive to me. That felt like a new arena of gaming. I've also played some games where you have to slice boxes while wearing the headset. I played in the Oculus long back. Okay, so those are also games that I feel did open a new way of gaming for me. How far that field goes, I'm not sure. Like, can they evolve out of these young mini games, I would say, to go into like serious gaming?
I mean, I would love to see like a quest based game, like something like Skyrim, for example, right?
That's a dream.
Based on like AR and VR. So I think that is the dream for that industry, at least for me. That is where I wanted to go, but we'll see how that pans out.
But potential ahead for sure.
Okay, anything else? Any closing thoughts? But before we close out, I did have one question, but I'll give you the stage first.
I think the only closing thought will be that initially I did mention that you can do these things. I would also put like VR gaming is a good enough field to go all into.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a field that you're not sure, then you can also go in on techs used to make VR games. Right, that's it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So this is just a fun question before we close out. What is like your favorite game of all time? And I know this is a very tough question for you to answer,
Yeah.
but what is something that has always been close to your heart?
It has to be Skyrim, Elder Scrolls 5. That game, I feel, was a milestone in gaming itself. But that's not the reason I love it. The reason I love it is because of the open-endedness of the game. Every time you play it, you can go through a different experience, and the world also. That everything comes along, like game designing, world building, sound, the actual gameplay itself. Everything comes together pretty well in that game. So, and we're still waiting for Elder Scrolls 6. It's been 12 years, but I don't know where it is. What about you? What's your favorite game?
I think it has to be Minecraft. I think,
yeah.
it is just the most calming game I can ever play.
Yeah,
So-
we should maybe set up a server and play after this. We record this podcast. It's been a while since I played Minecraft.
It's been a while. Let's make that plan. But yeah, I love Minecraft.
Yeah, nice. All right.
Okay, all right. Thank you for watching. Tell us your thoughts in the comments about game development and if this episode has been helpful. And we'll see you next time. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye bye.